Hey friends, it's Laura with Laura's Handmade Haven. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. Who's ready for a no-sew project? That's what I have for you today in our Cozy Up October Flannel Scraps series. We're going to be making some cute little projects with no sewing involved. Definitely some tying, but no sewing. All right, so I'm going to swing you on down to the craft table because this is going to be so super cute and so super fun and easy that you're going to want to jump in and make some of these immediately. Okay, so we are going to make some cute little pumpkins and we're going to make them super easy with scraps, and we don't need polyfill. All we need are all those leftover pieces of flannel and scraps that we have laying around. If you don't have flannel scraps laying around, you could definitely do this with cotton as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just lay this first little piece of flannel out. And I'm going to grab the largest circle ruler I have, which is a 12-inch circle. And now you can do one of two things. You can just cut this out with your rotary cutter the way it is, and that would be perfectly fine. Or you can draw a line around it like I am right now, which again would be perfectly fine. Either one of those is fine to do. And now I'm going to cut out the circle. And this doesn't have to be exact. If you're not right on the line, it's okay. No one's going to see it. Well, they might, but they shouldn't be that close to your pumpkin. Oh, did I tell you what we're making? We're making some cute little fabric pumpkins. But we're going to make them no-sew, super easy. All right, don't get rid of these because we're going to use them. Now we're going to get a bunch of scraps. Oh, you know what? I kind of lied to you. There is a little bit of sewing, but it's not going to take much effort. I'm going to use some baker's twine and thread it into the needle. It's a very large needle, by the way. Cut a length. This is the only sewing you have to do. There's a little bit, I guess. Nothing like what we have been doing though. And it's not as precise as what we've been doing. You're going to be in, 3/4 of an inch from the edge. And you're just going to run around the outside edge of your circle. Again, it does not have to be precise. You're just doing a running stitch all the way around. I like the baker's twine just because it's a little heavier weight, because we're going to be pulling on this quite a bit. Great. Now I'm going to leave this here. And now I'm just going to get some additional scraps. Let's see if we can pull this down and see. Yeah, it needs more scraps stuffed in there. So let's just cut off another length of this. This is just a flannel that I'm not going to use for anything. All of us have those little things. We've had projects that we thought we were going to do this, that, or the other, and then we decided that's not exactly what I want. So if you have leftover batting scraps, you could also use that. If you have an old t-shirt or an old whatever you wanted to get rid of, you could definitely use that as well. Anything that you could use for basically some stuffing. And you could obviously use polyfill as well, but it's better, I don't know. I just like using scraps if I can. Now, I don't want to tie this off because I'm going to make my stem. But I'm going to make my stem out of a wooden spool. And the first thing that I'm going to do is get a couple pipe cleaners. I'm going to run those down. And I'm going to kind of twist them around the bottom of my spool because I don't want to have to sew any of these in place. So I've twisted them around the bottom. I'm just going to twist them into place, put those back, and now this is going to be very secure. It's not pulling out no matter how hard I try. And this is going to go into the middle of my pumpkin. And I'm going to put that down far enough that you can't see the bottom of it, you just see the top too. And then this is going to become my two little curly vines here in a moment. I'm just going to run this needle through the pumpkin a few times. Pull that down tight. And now I'm going to run it through again, and this time I'm going to make a knot. I'm just going to run that through the loop a few times and make a knot, making sure to keep it tight. And now if you wanted to, you could definitely go back through again and make another knot and go a few times if you wanted. You can also go ahead and wrap this down and around to kind of pull your pumpkin into a shape. And I might do that just because I have enough string there. If you didn't have enough string, just cut you another length. Because, you know, pumpkins are kind of segmented. All right. Pulling that through. And again, just tying a knot. Moving that down. And then I'm going to poke my needle through and out another side of the pumpkin, just to kind of hide that string. All right. Reform my pumpkin just a little bit to get him into a nice little shape. Then I'm going to take that pin that I had earlier and twist this down and around. And again with the other pipe cleaner, just rolling that pipe cleaner around the pin to make those little vines. And then the final thing we're going to do is just put a little bit of green around our stem. You can tie this into a bow if you want, or you can let it cascade down the side of your pumpkin, whichever you prefer. Okay, so here's pumpkin number 1. And we didn't have to use any hot glue, so this is definitely kid-friendly. The only thing that you'd have to be concerned about is the needle. So a little adult supervision, but not like a hot glue gun supervision at least. So let's make the other 2, and then you can see the different sizes, and we will have our little pumpkin patch reveal. Now for this one, I'm using the 10-inch circle. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the final pumpkin that I want for this little project. I'm going to cut it out of the black. The spooky, spooky owls. And for that one, we're using the 8-inch circle. And again, just tracing that circle and cutting it out. Now you can tell that I'm not cutting my circle perfectly, and that's fine. You're not going to be able to tell. So if you're letting the kiddos help you, be careful with the sharp scissors, of course, but don't get too crazy about them staying on the line. Okay, and again, we're just doing a running stitch around the outside of our pumpkin, of our circle. And you can do this, you know what, actually, let me go in a little more. I'm going to go in about an inch because I want it to stick up on the spool a little bit more than it did before. It does take a little bit of strength to get the baker's twine to pull through the flannel. So obviously this is going to be the smallest of the pumpkins. Get this open back up a little bit so I can get my stuffing in there. Now I'm using a rotary cutter just because I want to speed it up a little bit, but you definitely don't need to. You can use your scissors. And just shoving all that down into the little pumpkin circle. Okay, now let me show you how I did these pipe cleaners one more time, just so there's no questions. I just shoved them down through the hole. And then I brought them back up and around the base of the spool. And then I put them around the spool, and then I twisted the two ends and put that back flat against the spool. And that's going to keep them from coming out of the top. Now I'm going to put this so that lower flange of the spool is below this little line of thread. And I'm not going to do the pumpkin lines this time. I think that it'd be fine without them. And I'm just going to run my needle through here, making that loop, go through the loop 2-3 times, and pull that down tight. And then just for a little extra security, you could definitely take your needle through and come out another spot and do that knot again. But I think we're going to be okay with just the one. So I'm going to cut this off. And then I'm going to grab some green ribbon. And I'm really just estimating here. I would say it's probably around 18 inches. And then you can go around the spool or you can go around the entire thing. I'm going to make this so it will kind of open up a little bit. Go around that spool. Now, if you have a problem with your spools coming out, you can definitely add a little bit of hot glue in there. But if you're doing this with little kiddos, try to do without the hot glue. Or do it after they go to bed. I used to do that. We would do a little craft project to take it together, and it would be gorgeous, but you knew it wasn't going to hold up. So after the little kiddos went to bed, then I would finish it up. And they never knew. Or she never knew, I guess. All right. Now, last thing, wrapping the pipe cleaner around the pin. Pencil would work too. Anything, you know, round. Cylinder. All right, here is pumpkin number 2. And now we have one more to go. I got all these scraps from my brother who got them from somebody else. So I don't know what the original projects were. All right, now we're just going to stuff this one full. And I am going to cut, oops, here, let's use this one up first. I am going to cut it into some smaller pieces just because I think it stuffs better when it is. I'll show this one more time. Down, around. Twist. Back flat. And then this goes right in here below that, where that little stitch line is. All right, we've almost got a pumpkin patch. Get another length of green ribbon. Again, that's probably about 18 inches. Run that right around the middle of that spool. And like I said, you can tie it into a knot and be happy with that, or you can tie it into a bow like I have been. This would be really cute for like table centerpieces, your little Halloween decoration table. The kids can be involved with it because it's not too much, not too dangerous. Okay, so what do we have? We have a cute little pumpkin patch ready for your table, your mantle, your Halloween decorations, wherever you want to put them. This would be super cute, super fun, super easy to do with kiddos, beginner-friendly product. If you don't have these spools, go out into your yard and find some sticks or some twigs to put in there instead. You can definitely wrap those pipe cleaners around those too. If you don't have pipe cleaners, then don't. Leave them out. That's fine. This is definitely interpretive. You can have as much or as little of the thread around the pumpkins that you like. Stuff them with anything you have left over, just scraps. Like I said, if you don't have leftover scrap pieces from fleece or flannel or quilting cotton, then go find an old t-shirt that's ratted out and wad it in there. You can find something in your house, I'm sure, that you can stuff these little pumpkins with instead of going out and buying a bag of polyfill. I like keeping crafts super simple, especially when you're thinking about doing them with little kiddos. And this one really is a fun one to do with kids because they can customize their own pumpkins and let them choose whatever they want for their pumpkins. If they want a pink pumpkin, let them have a pink pumpkin. It's fine. So if you have ideas or comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'll leave the supplies down in the description below so you can find those if you're looking for them, if you're not really sure what to get. And until next time, find joy in all you do. Carve out some time for crafting and creating. And remember, it's always better when you make stuff up.